ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 478th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the Clown Prince of Podcast. Clown Prince of Podcast Trust.
Broadcast.
The broadcast.
That's sexual.
I got nothing. Yeah, that's a whole different type of cast. But yeah, I got no names. I guess I had nothing really to think of, you know. But and I'm joined by.
I am the Ramen Hair Taylor Field.
Why ramen hair?
I'm talking about some Iron Fist tonight.
Right. Okay. I knew it was a joke to something we've talked about in the past, but I just couldn't for the life of me remember what it was referring to. But yeah, it's just us two tonight. We thought it might be a third person. Kirklin might have passed out, or we might have miscommunication. Doing the fourth wall. What do you think? Or do you think he's bearing another Shay clone?
I think bearing another Shay clone for sure. That's definitely it. Or
I just can't get her right. I just can't get her right.
He's joined the Nerdverse or something. He's doing his other podcast.
The Nerdverse. So. Oh no, that's not good. I thought it was Justin Timberlake joke. Yeah, you remember back in the day they would have just had that going on. Like, I got to tell you though. So I was going to talk to Kirklin about it, but he's not here. So okay. I hate when I say this. I'm a big Kendrick Lamar fan. I'm doing quotations in the fact of when I say big, I'm not like, as I use the example with Scream when they're like, you guy got that last name wrong. How can you be a big fan? I'm a big enjoyer. Like, to me, there's big fan. What's the a differentiator between big fan meaning just something you really, really love versus something you're really knowledgeable in? Because I feel like just because you say you're a big fan of something doesn't mean oh, I know every Kendrick Lamar song I've listened to over and over and stuff like that. But I feel like there's what would be the difference? What would be a word? Because I feel like we always say that, but then people call you out on your fandom well, what was the second song on his third album?
Yeah, I don't know what the specific word is. I know what you're trying to get at. Because, I can say, I'm a big fan of Star Wars, but have I read every book? No. Do I know every single backstory of every clone in the whole fucking Order 66?
Yeah,
no.
But I put you on the higher pedestal of big fan. Like, Family McClay's in the chat, same thing as him. I would with Katie, because you guys are a lot more experienced with me as far as canon and stuff. Like you've read a lot more than... you're probably in a higher percentile than a lot of other people in Star Wars. Like, majority of Star Wars fans have just seen the movies and the Disney Plus shows, and that's it. They haven't even probably seen Clone Wars. They probably haven't even seen Rebels or anything like that, or Visions.
If we're tearing it off, then there's general audience, the casuals, and there's big fans, which I would say we're all kind of similarly in that realm. And then above that, you could call fanboys like Clay over here. So
yeah, maybe enthusiast. I don't know. People let me know. People let me know if you think there's a good distinguisher between them. But anyways, that came out. I was going to talk to Kirklin about that, but I didn't. Good album, a very good album and stuff like that. Like I said, me and Kirklin will blurb about that at some point, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm sure there's lots of great music come out, lots of great albums, but it gets played in my house a lot here, but man, I sing it to myself a lot, is that Four Town song from Turning Red, Nobody But You, or whatever it's called, or whatever, I can't remember the exact name, but
that one didn't stick with me at all. I don't even remember that one. The one that's really sticking with me is We Don't Talk About Bruno from Encanto. That one is cemented in my mind. I just start singing it to myself.
Well, that was last time. Or that was last year. That was last year. I said this year.
Oh, this year. Oh, was Encanto last year?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I watched it after I watched Turning Red. Oh my god.
I'll try to muffle us a little bit, but yeah, it's the boy band.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And we were just singing around the house all the time. Oh my. Yeah, whatever music comes out this year, not going to top Four Town, this fictional band in Turning Red. I'm going to be fighting tooth and effing nail to get the score and Four Town on Golden Geeks for best song. I'm telling you, I have to make it happen.
You'll have to really fight for that.
I'm going to fight for it. Four Town's so good, but... yeah, we got lots of good stuff coming out. It's the lull period. We got Doctor Strange and Moon Knight a couple weeks ago, and then we got Obi-Wan. It's kind of I feel like when we get these big projects and there's big spaces in between them, but they're really close together, it feels like those few days between Christmas and New Year's, and it's what are these days? They're so slow, or stuff like that. That's where this is. We got Doctor Strange. We got some stuff coming out this week. I'll probably be reviewing Men, so look out for that. Side Quest is coming out. You're on this week with Dylan Muss, I heard.
I am, yes. I was just looking over the show notes that he sent me. Some good stuff. So
right now.
Not right now. No, before. I was watching some video game trailers, looking up some latest news, and there's some exciting topics. We were gonna do Xbox game show predictions, but I think Dylan said we're scrapping that because there's just so much game news popping.
Oh, really?
Right now,
well, there you go. Yeah. So I'm sure he'll probably do that again soon in the next few weeks because we got that next few weeks, it's like Obi-Wan. We're going to have Jurassic World. We're doing the Jurassic Park retros. I just watched Jurassic Park 2 today, and man, I cannot, or Jurassic Park The Lost World. I won't say anything, but man, I cannot wait to talk about it because I have
That's going to be a good top. I hope we have everyone involved again, like the first movie.
I have a huge point, a sticking point about a character in that movie I'm going to bring up. So I will save that. So there's a little tease. But for the live feed, the Jurassic Park retro just dropped. We're going to be reviewing every one, and then the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom one will get re-released up until then. But yeah, we got Xbox Game Showcase coming up. We got Summer Games Fest coming up. We got, and I have
finale.
Yeah, the Halo finale, huge. I haven't announced this publicly, but the Gauntlet Retaliation event, that's getting bumped to the 27th, right before your roast, because I'm going to have time off next week, so I'll have a lot more time to get things in order for that stream to go down. So that's why it just worked better. So just a week delay, nothing big, but like we said, it's myself and Taylor defending our team titles against Saris and Kirklin, and I'm excited to beat them again. You know, I'm hoping it's going to go that route, but I'm pretty sure it's going to. But at the same point, that Mario game, we were inches away from losing. Like one wrong coin maybe, and it would have been over for us. So
oh yeah,
I would like to come back and just dominate them in Mario Party to get rid of that closeness, but we'll see if we got another banger. So yeah, that's our esports event. So you got that going on. And then speaking of our other esports event, it's going to be a Gauntlet event, but it's just a big celebration. We got the Strikers Cup happening. I think we've been talking about this. I don't know if we've officially dated it for people. I think people know. June 11th. The game comes out June 10th. So June 11th, whoever's going to be competing, it's going to be about 5 to 6 people, and we're going to be doing a round robin. So people might not remember this, but we did this with Smash Ultimate, where we took the 5-7 people, everyone played each other, and whoever the most wins won the game. So I'm looking very forward to that, and I'm looking forward to you and me playing each other, Taylor, because it's going to be like Strikers is our bread and butter, and we're going to be going in pretty empty. Like maybe we'll get in some game time the night before, but really we got Jurassic
I won't
World
have
stuff.
game time the night.
I probably
before.
won't either, because I'm doing that, and then me and Dylan are reviewing the Summer Games Fest as well going on. So
that like the night before or the
I guess it's the day before. Yeah, but still, I might get a couple rounds in, but not enough to feel confident in it. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out of town. Like I'm seeing Jurassic World on the coast, and then I'm driving back that night to review it, and then I won't be able to play unless I get it early in the morning and play a few rounds before you guys show up. Is there a time? Is it like 9 a.m. you guys are coming over?
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to talk. We're doing that live on air. We haven't figured that out. We'll see what's best for everybody. But I think more daytime and whatnot. So yeah, look out for that. And then, like we just referred to, May 28th, the big roast for Taylor Field. We got myself hosting it, and we'll have some roasters announced the week of. But it's going to be a good time going towards charity, so you can watch it. It isn't after 9, but this one we're going to make live to people because this one's a charity event. So this one is exclusive for people if you want to call in, patrons, if you want to call in and be a part of the audience and stuff like that. Because after the jokes, we'll still hang out and talk a little bit for whatever time's left. But so you can come tune in, but that's happening. And other exclusive stuff, we dropped the MCU Planning the Next 10 Years cast. We dropped the Originals one after 9. Oh, I just pop that up, and then we got already this month 3 exclusive episodes up there. Next, I'm wondering if you're gonna do some rewatches. I guess I'll tease it a little bit just because it's you and me, but next month for our bread and butter one, we're doing a Pixar ranking because you, me, and Jess were talking about that, so we're gonna wait till after Lightyear. But that's are you ready for that? Do you feel confident you can rank like all?
I'm very confident I could rank all of mine. Yeah, that's something I always kind of keep in the back burner. I feel like I'm going to be standing alone on my little island with my ranking, but I'll take it.
That's fine. I just know you and Jessica are going to target the fuck out of Toy Story and stuff like that. Take it down. But what was I going to say? It is 25 films, 26 after Lightyear we'll have to watch and everything like that. So S-Bubs, I just finished watching the Evil Dead remake. I liked it more than the original amazing post-credit scene. That Amazing Dead remake, fuck, man, that is one of the most brutal, goriest, just like best kind of haunted cabin movies. I understand why people may not like it, but I don't know if we're going to have time this year. I haven't even talked about this with Taylor, but and I know S-Bubs is going to be pushing us, be like, oh, you definitely got to do it. But remember there's that new Evil Dead movie coming out, Rise, this year. And it's like based in an apartment or hotel room or something like that. And because Evil Dead's only 4 films, I thought, could we do it? So it depends when that movie gets announced. I don't know if we'll be able to do it, but I would really like to, because I don't know after this one, unless it's a big hit, but let's say it's not, I don't know when the next time we're going to get to do an Evil Dead retro, you know? So that's where where I thought, so we might do a little extra work. And that's why head over to Patreon, because the more you support us, we can make time for those casts. The more you support that channel or that feed, the more content we can create, because we're already doing double newscasts, reviews, we're doing retrospectives. We got retrospectives planned all the way from now until I think it's the middle of October. Every week, even if you're not seeing it for the live feed on Patreon, you'll be getting early episodes. Like, we're going to be recording Christmas retros like 3 months earlier. So we're working hard for everybody. Maddie says, evening, lads. Good evening, Maddie. Hope you're doing well. Maddie, in your honor, I watched the Batman last night after we were done Call of Duty. Put on the Batman, man.
Oh, you son of a bitch! We could have got more wins on Call of Duty, and you want to watch.
I put it on as a sleeping movie, but still, I was like, you get a little. But I didn't make it the whole way through and everything like that. I suppose that I'd be the first to listen to that retro. I really want to do it because I think it'd be tons of fun. Evil Dead remake is awesome. Jane Lee is fantastic. Oh, she is. I remember I took Emily to that one, and that is before she really, I think she told me she didn't like horror movies, but she really didn't like horror movies. I've definitely converted her, but she was like wincing the whole time. That's a brutal film, that one. And then, that's everything we're doing. So, Taylor, where can they find all that? I don't even know if I threw to you, but I just rambled for a bit. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find it with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter, and GeekVerse is our Facebook.
Yeah, go over there, support us, everything like that. All the links are down below for our podcast network, our separate podcast feeds. Let's say Leaks say she's coming to Evil Dead game. Yeah, I'm excited to get that game at some point. It's just for the time when I know in America it's $50, so for us it's probably like $552. But yeah, I just know because Strikers is coming up.
I think it's 49 or 50. I think it's 49 here and 39 in the States.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's not too bad. But yeah, I definitely want to get. I feel like we will. Yeah, it's 49. Okay, I feel like there's a chance we might get it for the 24-hour stream because I think we could have some fun with that. Plus, I don't know. Do we know when that Texas Chainsaw Massacre one's coming out?
Oh, there was. I shared something with you on that. I really want to try that one.
Yeah, so that's coming out. We love those games, and obviously we really enjoyed Friday the 13th. Well, I really enjoyed Friday the 13th. Taylor, you never ended up. Oh, you did get it, right? You did get it. At
Friday the 13th? Oh, yeah. I played the living.
Well, you weren't an early adopter. I was the only one to get it day first. Remember the days when we went to Dylan's place that first day and the servers were trash and we would just sit around for hours waiting to get in a party? Someone go look up. There's a great thumbnail. It's me and Taylor like scared, and it's Friday the 13th. I did I'm in a towel, and we did Friday the 13th, and it was just the best of because we edited it down because the stream was it was brutal, like how long it took and everything. So
yeah, Dylan had that one moment I'll never forget. He just stood like a branch, and Jason totally missed him. That was good.
Yeah, and I feel like it counts for like movie wise. I guess like Dylan's gonna ask you probably tomorrow too, but yeah, I think we had a good time that Call of Duty Godzilla King Kong event. You know, like I know we'll be doing it again, but it was fun stuff.
Yeah, that's what I put in the show notes, so that's my game that I'll be talking about
perfect.
tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, I won't spoil, but yeah, make sure you mention everything there. So that was fun, but servers were full. Same thing. Yeah, they always suck that first day. So, but you know what doesn't suck the first day? It's us at GeekVerse. So, you know, actually, let's do this because we got some big topics. I'm actually going to take our first ad break right now because then we can get in the main topic and just go swimmingly into it. So we will be right back. We're back. Taylor, you laughed. Did you not like my decision?
I know. You just did plugs and then just go to an ad break. It's just we're big though. We're pumping out everything. So
well, yeah, and you know we got people that pay for sponsorship too. So that's the thing where it's like we got lots of stuff, but it's all stuff to let people know what's going on. And you know what? You can always just listen to the cutouts. That's the good thing. We give you many options. But so this is a story, and I always, you know, he's in the chat. Always thank S Bubs. He's always giving us more content, which you also got to love too. Kirklin definitely misunderstood my comment because he has not appeared, so I can't wait to talk to. I'm just gonna, you know, before he wakes up in a cold sweat, he's like, "Was I supposed to be on tonight?" I'm just gonna drop the classic NVM. Never mind, we're good to go there. So S-Bubs had alerted us about this because this was a scooper. What are you laughing about now?
This your NW or NVM comment.
Never mind. But S-Bubs had let us know about this. So there was a scooper, and S-Bubs, you can drop the name in the chat, that was, he or she were putting out a bunch of scoops, but they were kind of unproven. And classic, kind of like how My Time to Shine got bigger by, she put out a bunch of scoops for No Way Home, and then a lot of those were true. That's where it's like, okay, she's an established scooper now. So that's what kind of happened with this person. And I forgot, after this topic, we'll do the Doctor Strange box office, because that was first, but we'll do it after this. There's no Doctor Strange spoilers in this episode. So there you go. Great Phase. Yeah, you are right about Great Phase. He also said, I think today, or they said that they think it's going to be Secret Wars in 2026. I don't know if I believe that, but go check out our MCU 10-year episode for the next 10 years because we get to really talk about when we think Avengers will be happening. But either way, this person gets a lot of scoops right now. There was a Reddit thread of every scoop this person had ever put out, like since this year, like the beginning of this year. Now, I have cherry picked. There's multiple ones today we're going to talk about. Topics that are kind of the biggest ones that aren't anywhere near spoilers. Because S-Bubs is right that they're not specific spoilers, but there's a few where it's like, okay, if you were to read this, you could probably figure out a certain plot point. So, and there's other ones that I just took out, like, okay, we wouldn't talk much about this. So, the main topic, so all these are rumors. I'd say all these are like a C tier right now, but you know, we like to have fun that we like to talk about because at one point Barry Keoghan was a C tier rumor, and look, he's the fucking Joker. So that's why we always talk about these things, because you never know what's gonna be true, what's not. So here's a report. I will pull it up on my phone here. Where it was. I'm unprepared. Here we go. Marvel rumors. Captain America 4 will feature Secret Empire, not the event but the group. Whether that's Val, ex-Hydra folks, or Serpent Society remains to be seen. Maybe both. Sharon will also be a player. Now, before I get into who's going to be maybe co-starring this movie, I'm going to read you what the Secret Empire is. The Secret Empire began as a branch of a subsidiary of Hydra, and it was with the original purpose of being a divert of attention to the authorities such as S.H.I.E.L.D. away from Hydra's activities. Following Baron von Strucker's death, the Secret Empire gained independence from Hydra. Members of the Secret Empire are given new numerical code names that designates with their rank within the organization. The Secret Empire is headed by a 9-person council made up of highest-ranking members called the Council of Nine, with number 1 serving as the supreme leader. So it's not the Circle of 4, Taylor. You know, so you're not getting that. But what do you think about that as a villain for Captain America 4? Again, these are rumors, but what do you think of this? Is like almost another Hydra type, another spinoff of Hydra. Is that something that you're interested in with what I've given you the log line of? And obviously with MCU, they could change anything. They can work some things differently. Or do you feel that you're kind of done with Hydra or like the secret society type of groups? Where are you as far as if that's actually Captain America 4? Does that get you excited or kind of meh on it?
I mean, if you know me, you know I love a good conspiracy, so I am always down for some more Hydra stuff. I love the behind-the-scenes kind of dynamic, and I think this is just right up my alley. Let's get into it. Let's see it. I've been itching to see what Hydra's been up to, and I always felt like it was a little unfortunate and lackluster that they just kind of really just collapsed after they were exposed. And I get they were exposed. It makes sense that it would have happened. But I just wish that there was a little bit more there that they could like rebound from and really turn around, because you see the splinter cells of them that aren't really active, but they have that history like we saw in Civil War, for example. And I want to know more about what they were connected with the Russians and just how widespread their network really, really was. And so to see something like this that's kind of rising from the ashes, like, you know, cut off one head, 2 more shall take its place. Let's see it. I want to see that second head. Come on.
No comment there. I'm not the complete opposite. It's just tough because with Captain America Winter Soldier, that was like the perfect kind of reveal of Hydra, very Hydra-based centric movie, obviously, big twists. And then with Age of, like, that happened, they were exposed, and Age of Ultron happened, where it just felt like they were getting smaller and smaller. And then I think my other problem is I would have been fine if they were gone, and then we would bring them back later on. But the problem is, since then, we've had Black Widow, which had, like, the secret widows around. And then in 10 Rings, we had, like, the 10 rings around. Like, we've had so many, no, I won't say so many, but at least a few Marvel movies or projects where it's like, oh, I'm part of this society, and then there's like a smash montage of them showing like a bunch of newspapers with X's on people's faces, or them listing off a bunch of like real life events that they cause and stuff like that. So when they go, oh yeah, we're doing Captain America 4 but a secret society, and this is the thing where we'll talk about the scooper, I don't actually believe some of these rumors about this Captain America 4 movie per se, and I'll get into it more in a second. But to me, again, you can have multiple characters, maybe you get a big actor, but I just don't know if a Captain America 4, if another type of Hydra or Hydra's back is a selling point. Now, if you do, this is where, again, maybe for the GA, it doesn't really matter. For me, a selling point is it's a secret empire and maybe Red Skull's running that shit. Like, I do want something like that. I know that they talk about Val and Sharon. I'm down to see them. I just don't think that's like man, I can't wait for Cat 4. And I'm not saying Cat 4 has to be the be-all, end-all, a huge, like, No Way Home, even Doctor Strange level. I want more than there's been the secret society all around. And that's almost like the worry I have about everyone wanting Batman to do Court of Owls is in superhero stuff, like especially Marvel lately, we've got so many, the secret society. And luckily the Court of Owls is like peak of that, maybe next to Hydra. But so on the surface, I go, I don't know if that really does it for me. I'm open to seeing how they betray it, but at the same time, I don't know if I need to. I just don't want them to remake Winter Soldier, but with Falcon. You're like, with Sam. Like, what can they do differently to separate from Winter Soldier? Because Winter Soldier, I guess that was okay. You have a bunch of people in S.H.I.E.L.D., everything. That's the secret. How do you go about the new secret society this time, Taylor? I feel like, what could they be running? Because you don't just want to be like, and Sword secretly being run by Secret Empire. Like, you don't want that again.
No, you don't. You don't want it to be a carbon copy by any means. So,
which Black Widow was of Winter Soldier.
So to go about a route like this, you can't have them basically leading the charge and be having significant people in prominent places in the government and political positions. So maybe have them a little bit more on the forefront, a little bit more open, but not open on the Age of Ultron sense where like, hey, we're going to different Hydra bases and we're just like cracking down on them. And give me a second. That music is getting so loud in the background.
Yeah, you... Madison Taylor's wife is watching Twilight, and I guess Taylor just can't take it. But Maddie says if Red Skull is involved, I am down. Otherwise, I don't need another remix of Hydra. That's kind of where I am. Obviously, it's a cheap mix. If you just say, Red Skull's, and it's like, okay, I'm in. Like I'll instantly get excited. Captain America, the Winter Soldier 2, Hydra's back. So yeah, we'll see. I would need some selling. I want to see. And if it's not Red Skull, who else could be the villain? What big actor could be in it? Because, I don't think Sharon's a huge pulling point. And again, even Sharon was the power broker. It wasn't a secret society, but it was like a secret villain. So, Taylor, you're back. You're all good.
Rob Pattinson's just playing the fucking piano so loudly for Bella Swan. Oh.
You like that? Anyway, so you were saying that they don't got to be necessarily in the main good guy groups, but you don't also want them being out and open.
Yeah, they could have an on-set base of operations or something like that, but they don't have to be prominently displaying themselves in the newspaper like, hey, we're a new regime. I honestly think it'd be cool if they were kind of open about their perspectives and their views, but it was still in a legal way they were going about it, and maybe they were trying to run for a political position, so they were very more open on the forefront. And like,
definitely don't call yourself the Secret Empire then if you're running for office.
No, yeah, no kidding. But that could be kind of a cool twist where you have this political party that is very much open about what they're trying to do, and they're just trying to go become in control of the country or become prominent in these different political positions through the legal, conventional form of democracy, I guess you could say. I don't know, because they've been dabbling with that a little bit with... Here's a certain Marvel character, and he's rallied these people to his support. They've shown that in Falcon and Winter Soldier with the souped up soups from the pawnbroker or whatever his name was or her name was, and then they also show that again with Moon Knight's villain, which I can't remember his name, but Arthur Harrow with people following him. So people are all diving in for causes since the post-snap. So
well, it's funny you bring up Moon Knight because that's who is another person that was rumored for this. So the main crew of Cat 4 will be Sam, Bucky, Joaquin Torres, who that's the guy at the end, the Falcon Winter Soldier. Remember, he's working with Sam, and he got the Falcon suit, and he's like, I could fix it up, and he becomes Falcon in the comics after Falcon. So pretty much he might just be the new Falcon. And Moon Knight. And then this person said, not 100% yet, but I also expect to see possibly War Machine and Kate Bishop involved at some point. War Machine, I believe, and Kate Bishop, I'm 50, I'd say 60-40 for not believing. But I do want to bring this up to go against my point of, like, when you look at Moon, and I know this is everyone's going, oh, what's the point of the Marvel Universe? The thing is where I just feel like Moon Knight was setting more in the trajectory as far as the MCU with the supernatural stuff. So you got him, and he's gone now. You know, Oscar Isaac waiting to be signed up to do some more, and then you got Sam Wilson. He had his series, then he's gonna get his movie. My whole thing is I guess I just didn't see the trajectory as far as Moon Knight. The next project we'd see him in is in Captain America. I know we all talked about that. Yeah, it would be a Blade, would be a Midnight Suns, would be a Werewolf by Night. It seems odd, even though like when you look at the 616, and I'm not a big like I know a little about Secret Empire, but I don't know everything. There is on the Wikipedia for the Marvel fandom a little section, and they say the Secret Empire also sought to eliminate Moon Knight, who believed he had heavily disrupted with some of their operations. So the only I think like touchstone is the good thing with whether it's I guess not Bucky, but whether it's Torres or whether it's Wilson, there's a chance that this guy was, Mark Spector was a mercenary. He was in the army before and stuff like that. There's a chance one of them know him, and it's the same way in Captain America Winter Soldier. Like, again, I don't want it to be that, though, right? Where it's just like Captain America needed a friend. And he's like, I know a guy. And he went to go see Sam Wilson, right? Like, I don't want Sam Wilson to be like, I know a guy. And he goes to see Mark Spector. Like, that's where it sounds so similar with like the team up and the hidden society. And then, we got a friend in the army. So in that point, and like, there's comic book history of Secret Empire going after Moon Knight. Okay, there is in the mercenary army angle. Okay, they could know each other, and I'm down for it. That's cool. Like, again, I was disappointed in Moon Knight, but I still liked it overall, and I do want to see Oscar Isaac in more things, and also just I want to see Moon Knight on the big screen because I still think that suit when it's CG could look even better with like a movie budget. But I'm still in the camp that I don't actually really believe this rumor. I'd be down for it because it'd be complete left like turn, and that's one of those things for me personally would get me excited, where if there is no Red Skull, it's a secret society, I go, I don't really need this, but like, but Moon Knight's in, I go, okay, I want to see what they do next, especially if the Jake Lockley thing's unanswered, because Jake Lockley could be like a huge wild card in this situation, right? Of like, they're in a mission helping out, because they might just need Mark, like they don't need Moon Knight, they just want Mark Spector's help, but then all of a sudden Jake Lockley pops up and like, that is a great scene where they bring Mark Spector on a mission, they just think he's an army guy that could help him, right? All things going to shit, and this guy's like blanking out, and all of a sudden this Egyptian robe comes up, and it's Jake Lockley kicking ass. That would be like, there's comedy gold, like situational humor gold in that thing. So the more I talk about it, maybe I'll say 50-50. The more I'm talking about it, I am 50-50, but I still lean a bit towards no. What do you think the movie starts with Sam running around Washington, D.C. and doing laps around walking towards? It's Mark, though, this time. It's Mark, and then every time you pass him, it's a different personality. So he's like, come on, mate. I'm trying my best here. Let's read some comments before I throw it to Taylor. Let's say, that's a really cool idea. If that was a story, I'd be into it. SBub says, we still don't know what Valentina is planning with the U.S. agent. And yeah, I'd heard he was maybe, the latest rumor I'd heard he was maybe in Secret Invasion. I just want more John Walker. Like, I want to see what that fucking guy's up to. But Eleanor was a part of Secret Empire. That's how they could tie Kate Bishop into it. Okay, I could see that. They could somehow tie her mom into whatever Fisk was working on, and maybe Fisk like encounter, like, because I could see the only good thing about a Hydra or a Secret Empire is that 5 years of the blip. Maybe that's a time where they could have rebuilt or become stronger. And same thing, we don't necessarily still know the Kingpin situation. And that is funny because that's going to actually tie into maybe one of our stories coming up here. But Taylor, what I'll ask you, do you like the idea of this of that team that I listed? It was just Sam, Bucky, some pretty much usuals. But do you like the idea of Moon Knight being in this?
I do. I really, really do. Again, I don't have much to run with on their history and the different characters crossovers like you were talking about, and how Moon Knight has relevance to the Secret Empire. My kind of curiosity and intrigue will come from characters that are unconventionally different and being thrown into the mix together like this. That's what really would get me like super excited, because we're all used to like our Iron Man War Machines and like our Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, our Wong and Doctor Strange, all that kind of stuff. So for me to see Moon Knight with Captain America, it's like, this is such a weird combination. I would think it would be like a Doctor Strange and Moon Knight, but it's so wacky and unconventional. I want to see that on the screen. I want to see that represented somehow on some wacky story. It's just, to me, speaks my kind of language.
So you like it, but do you believe it? What's the percentage of you actually giving this of? Because they haven't given us a date of when the Captain America 4 movie is, just that it's announced. They're still writing and stuff like that. I don't want to spoil what we said on Patreon, but we kind of said the next couple years here, we think, and then we gave a specific date. But do you think this is going to happen?
I think it'll happen. I'll go like an 80% it'll happen.
Oh my God.
I think there's a reason why Captain
Putting
America
a lot of
4
faith in this new scooper, eh?
Oh yeah. Captain America 4 is off for a little bit. So I think that we'll see. Do you hear that?
I do now.
Well, I don't know what the fuck is going on out there. Anyways, so God, I lost my train of thought. I think
I got the day off. You know?
Yeah. Captain America 4 is just kind of like put off on the back burner a little bit.
Yeah.
It's being worked on. And I think that's in favor of Moon Knight being kind of brought to light, and we're going to get another project with Moon Knight in some shape or form. Whether that's a series 2, I'm not going to speak to that. That's its own thing. But if he's popping up in some other medium, and then they kind of throw him into Captain America 4, I think that could happen. And again, my high percentage is also attributed to the fact that if this is in the comics, then I'm going to kind of use that as this kind of foundation that it could probably happen in a cinematic aspect.
Yeah, well, you talk about foundations. The biggest foundation you got to look after is your junk, right, Taylor Field? Because that's why with Manscaped, you want to be doing that. Because right now, you can head over to manscaped.com and use the podcast code of GVPOD to get 20% off and free shipping. They are the best in men's grooming below the belt. Like we said, luckily for us, it hasn't got too warm here, but those days it have been warm. And man, when I'm biking to work early morning, it's getting a little hot. It's getting a little sweaty, Taylor Field. So there's two things I can do. One is make sure everything's nice trimmed up so those bike rides can be a little nice, you know, don't got to worry about some swamp ass, as they'd called it back in the day. And then two, you got stuff like the Crop Reviver. You got the lip balm, you got the deodorant. I feel like Manscaped is the whole year round, but Manscaped I feel like is built for these summer hot, especially if you people are listening and you live somewhere hot. You're going to need all these things. You want to stay trimmed, you want to stay well, like nourished, and you want to stay like well cleaned. You want to be able to refresh in the moment, because we've been there before, right? You're walking, whether it's July 4th coming up or Canada Day in a few months, you're going to be walking around. There's going to be sweaty people. The sun's going to be blaring on you, and you've had it where you just smell BO all around. You don't want to be that person. You don't even want to smell your own BO. So that's why right now you can go, whether it is getting the deodorant and the huge package that comes with it, whether that's getting the trimmer, that is the 4.0, which I always talk about. The light bulb is just fantastic. Again, I had to, because now I'm back to shaving my head, and my head on top of my shoulders, I should say. I'm back to shaving that, and as I've said before, I want to make one of those, because that's like a plug in the wall. It's fine. It gets the job done. It works, but with the Manscaped, like the 4.0, just having that thing there, just dropping it right there and just charging there, carefree, don't even have to think about it. And right now, can't see by my face, it's nice, silky smooth. That's all the plow. And I'm getting really good at it too, because the plow, man, it is some really good razors, but you gotta be careful. They're sharp. And I'm like, I have not had a real razor in like years, but it's so thick. And man, I just feel nice, silky smooth. So Taylor Field, these summer months, you want to be getting your Manscaped on, right?
Oh, absolutely. Again, it's just it's a bi-weekly ritual for me, just to kind of like do my daily Manscaped maintenance.
You're like the guy in Toy Story 2, getting ready and everything like that.
Exactly.
Getting ready to fix your Woody.
You fix my Woody. I've got a wedding again I'm going to in the summertime. So again, you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be bringing my Manscaped package. It's going to be in the blistering sun. I got to be smelling and feeling light. That's what Manscaped's going to do for me.
Plus, it's a nude wedding, so that's going to be really awkward if you're not trimmed up, right? So,
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's just tuxedos, but no pants and everything like that. So, right now, if you've not done that, go over there, use our code GVPOD to get 20% off and free worldwide shipping. We thank Manscaped for supporting this show and being a sponsor, and we thank all of you for getting that, because everybody we've gotten it to, whether it's our people, whether it's fans and listeners, family, friends, they're all happy about it. So go over there, Manscaped, right now. I almost laughed because I was taking the ads off and I see this thing. But speaking of Manscaped, though, it's not about the size of the hammer, it's the nail you're throwing it at. And that's true, because that's the thing with the Manscaped thing. That razor, you look at it, you're like, oh, it's pretty small. What can it do? Man, it fucking tears through things in a good way, as far as like, hair and everything in that body. So, but poor guy there. So let's talk about. I'm shifting the topics because I want to talk about a bigger thing as far as it having to connect. I was going to make a point, but I didn't want to undercut this topic. So that's why I'm going. So. Other thing this guy reported or this person reported is right now Fisk, Murdoch, Jessica Jones are all very similar and inspired by their Netflix show, but they're setting up for a much broader story within the MCU. And that's where I was wondering, there's a second part to this, but that's where I was wondering is maybe there's a chance when we were talking about the Secret Empire and SF's just brought up Eleanor, what if that's how they kind of tie some of these other people of Daredevil, Eleanor, Kate Bishop, some of your street heroes could be to your Secret Empire, right? Because Secret Empire, if they are Hydra, I'd almost maybe like that too, where they all are a bit high, like lower on the totem pole, because Hydra was around the world, right? And it was all over infiltrated. I would like if it was the beginning stages, and whether that's Eleanor or whether that's Kingpin, something like that. I wouldn't mind if they were somehow involved with it. But if it wasn't that, is there anything you see in your forefront or something that you have an idea of, whether it's your own personal idea or something we've seen in Marvel's past, whether it's a comic book or a different variation of it? Like, what could they be using some of these street heroes for? Because all the scoop kind of says just like it's leading to something. It's just obviously not out there. But I imagine there's, some sort of end game, no pun intended.
I would think so.
You're right there, Taylor.
There's just weird stuff going on out there. There's like other people in my house now, I think. I just don't know what's going on.
What do you think? What do you think the street level characters could be leading towards? Like what do you want to see?
What do I want to see? That's
like, is Kingpin just big enough? Could they be tied to the Secret Empire thing, or do you think Secret Empire that might be too big for them? They're gonna have their own smaller threat on the side.
I would have to expect a smaller threat. Again, I didn't really get super absorbed into the crime fighting, street fighting kind of Marvel-esque shows on Netflix. I got into some of them, but I wasn't getting into all of them. It's something I do want to visit fully in depthly at some point, but as far as a big threat, those shows, it was Kingpin, wasn't it? And Kingpin and the hand. Yeah.
And I don't think it'll be the Hand. I don't think they want to just run that back for the Netflix stuff. So
yeah. So it's tricky because, again, I don't know much source material from the comics to really reference here, and that's my bad. But I don't know. It's again, do I want to see these characters? I definitely do. And who knows what they're doing with Kingpin at this point with his kind of ordeal, but
yeah. Well, and it's time that because Echo, obviously, the rumor is Kingpin's back with that. I don't know if he's going to be blind or what's going on, but it says the Echo series will be really the setting for a new story for these characters. They aren't continuing from where Netflix ended. This is likely no Hand involved. Everything revolves around Wilson Fisk. So it's going to be interesting to see, is it just Fisk solely? Is it Fisk with another villain? Is it Fisk with some sort of power or something? And I wouldn't mind that if it's Fisk just controlling New York. I still will always say with that Hawkeye finale, I think they really played their hand way too hard as far as Fisk and Echo breaking up and him getting shot and the comics he gets blinded. I think that they went way too fast in that stuff. I don't think they need to go there. So that was always part of my disappointment with that finale. But yeah, the other thing is, as of right now, it says there's no sign of Coulter or Jones. That would be the actor that played Luke Cage and Iron Fist returning. The odds are they are rebooting and recast. Same for the Elektra actress. Punisher will definitely be different if Marvel decides to bring him in. Obviously, Bernthal will reprise his role. And I had heard something, this is the same guy that reported this weeks later, that said, Bernthal is they want to use Bernthal. They just don't know how to use the Punisher. Let's start with the Punisher side. That's a bit different. Let's start with Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Are you surprised that they are going to be recast? Because we got Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock. We got Vincent D'Onofrio, or Donofrio, as you used to call him, as Kingpin.
Donofrio.
And all the rumors are Kristen Ritter is being it's one of those. It feels very much like Matt Murdock with around No Way Home time. Of there's just so much pointing into she's going to be Jessica Jones again. So it sounds like those three, and then maybe Bernthal's back. Why do you think they're not going to bring back Cage and Iron Fist, those actors at least, for those roles?
It's, I think, solely based on popularity and the reception of these shows. I think if you look at the Netflix series, Daredevil and Punisher, top tier. Jessica Jones is following up, and then Iron Fist and Luke Cage, I think, are at the bottom of that barrel.
Well, I would say Iron Fist is at the bottom, but Luke Cage is definitely above it, I would say.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of popularity, I think that's kind of why it makes sense, like Daredevil and what the world he was creating with his villains and such, because that was just people were raving about that. You were raving about it, so obviously Feige's like, we need to tap into this potential here, and I just at this point of the game look at it as all different multiverse realms. I if they recast Iron Fist and Luke Cage, I just see it as, okay, well, these stories are still relevant and just exist in another multiverse. That's how I apply Ghost Rider now. Literally every Marvel film that exists right now, I just attribute it to being in another
canon.
Multiverse. It's all canon. So there's no disappointing me now.
Wow, that's something. So yeah, Nick Cage and the MCU there, you heard it first. Feige's like, they're all in the multiverse except that one. That one's not in there. That's its own separate. One, yeah. It's interesting because I'm not surprised by this report, because I feel like I talked about this a few times in Marvel Alliance with Chris and Brent, where I think Mike Coulter was really good as Luke Cage. I think Finn Jones was fine as Danny Rand. I think he got better. I thought he had moments where he was a great Danny Rand, or could be a great Danny Rand, but it never went the whole way. With Coulter, I really liked, but I agree with you. It is popular that most people just talk about, like, oh, Matt Murdock or Charlie Cox is a perfect Daredevil. Oh, Christian Ritter is a perfect, Jessica Jones. Same thing with Vincent D'Onofrio, right? So that's where I think people always really, I'll take Iron Fist because that makes sense. But with Mike Coulter, it's like they really liked him. But the way of, when I look at Kingpin and Vincent D'Onofrio, I go, man, that's perfect casting. It doesn't get much better. Same as John Berthbaum. Same as Kristen Ritter. Charlie Cox is pretty much that level. I still think there's someone out there that can be a great Daredevil, but I'm very happy it's Charlie Cox. I don't have that same feeling definitely with Finn Jones. I definitely still don't have that feeling with Mike Coulter, unfortunately, where I look at him and go, oh, this is the definitive Luke Cage thing. Now, again, I like Luke Cage a lot. I'm not a connoisseur of, maybe that should be the word we're talking about at the beginning of the cast. You're a connoisseur of Scream, or you're a connoisseur of Kendrick Lamar, because that is like, oh, I know everything. I know enough about Luke Cage where, like, he did the character well, but I also don't think that it was so knockout of the park where it can't be anybody else. Now, I will always be interested to go, okay, when are they going to use these characters next? Because what I'm curious is, I feel like it is a little strange. I like to say, like, okay, yeah, there's multiverse stuff, but we still haven't got confirmed about Kingpin and Daredevil if they're the Netflix ones, right? Vincent D'Onofrio said, oh, that's how I'm playing him, but that doesn't mean anything. Not until Kevin Feige and the team says anything. They can say, oh, yeah, this is a variant. So I still think it's weird that, let's say they are the same Netflix characters brought over, no variants, and then we bump into Luke Cage and we bump into Iron Fist and they're new actors. Now, that's already happened in the MCU, right? Like, War Machine was recast and they just moved along with it. That's fine, but it's just so weird, and like it's literally picking and choosing. What it feels like, it's like back at school when people are doing dodgeball and you have to, like, I don't even know if they do that anymore to kids, where it's like you were team captain and picked people, because obviously there's always few people last and never made people feel good, right? And that's what this feels like. This feels like Kevin Feige is in dodgeball, and like Mike Coulter and Finn Jones, you're just not getting picked. Sorry, like, you're great and all, but don't really.
Doesn't even take him to his team, like, when it's his turn. Just
you're a
says
sub.
You're
You're a sub. We'll call you if we need you. So I think it will be weird, especially with the biggest one, Jessica Jones. If, let's say, they go the route of pairing her with Luke Cage and them and having a daughter and everything like that. If it's a different Luke Cage, it's not Mike Coulter, because they had such a big relationship, it will feel a little strange. So I don't think they will actually do that, but who knows? I am disappointed about, man, I'm forgetting her name now. Oh, someone in the chat tell me. But the actress that did play Elektra, I thought she was great. I thought she's the same level as Cox as far as just as good, just as close as being kind of like perfect, iconic for that role. And I really, really like her. I like her in other stuff too. So that's kind of disappointing. But at the same time, I don't know when we could see them next. S-Pub says the next question Feige needs to be asked at those red carpets. Yeah, the problem is, I think the reason they haven't asked is because Matt Murdock was a surprise in No Way Home. So you couldn't really ask it because he's going to give a cheeky question. Not Gardner. No.
That's what I was thinking, Clay. Who are we going to see first? Her or the other Netflix variant?
Jennifer Gardner. No, I'm talking about, the Netflix version. It's like, her name's Yolon or something. It's a very different, like, it's not a North American name, but that'd be something. Charlie Cox and Jennifer Gardner together. So that'd be such a weird pairing. But with No Way Home, Matt Murdock was not advertised, so you couldn't ask it then. He's ELD Young, I think. That's exactly it.
LD?
LD Young. Thank you very much, Super Bad Mike. He gets the point for tonight. But and She-Hulk again. He's rumored in it. If they show it in a trailer, great. But if they don't, no one's gonna ask him because he's not really gonna answer. So it all comes down to when do we get a project that he's advertised to. I think there was like a rumor going around that the Daredevil show's supposedly filming at the end of the year. So we'll get those answers soon enough. And I'm actually surprised. I did not think it'd be filming that quick, to be honest. I thought they were going to wait a little longer, but I'm down. And like, I'm excited to see if it is the same continuity, because then you might have some catching up to do. But what was the other thing? Oh, Superbad Mike brought up a good point here I wanted to bring up when he's talking about the crime threat. They could incorporate 10 Rings as a hand replacement with Shang-Chi's sister leading them. That would be a good one. That's like a good equivalent of, hey, it's not the Hand, but it could be something similar, and it's also characters you already know and have a connection to in Shang-Chi. So the other thing I was going to bring up that's just rumored as far as She-Hulk when we were talking about this stuff was She-Hulk, as of right now, is rumored UK like let it slip for like an August 17th date. That is a Wednesday. That would make sense. Katie from Star Wars Alliance had brought this up in the GOA chat that she thinks Andor's July. So we would literally go Obi-Wan, Miss Marvel, Andor, and then what was it, She-Hulk, which I'm happy for. Like, again, I want them to delay it if they need it, but if it's ready to go, I'd rather get She-Hulk this year because give me all the MCU I can get, and I'm interested to see with it being a comedy of fourth wall breaking and stuff. But I think at some point we may do a cast on the the Star Wars Celebration predictions. But do you subscribe to that theory Katie has going on that July is Andor?
I mean,
because it's not going to be November, December. Yeah, I'm not sure. And Clay, you're in the chat. Because you guys, is that a report that you guys are sticking with, or is that just her guess? So let me know. But I think the reason she has, because like November, December would be Mando, because they've premiered both in November and both December, so it's not going to be then. What If could be in the fall again, and then after, and She-Hulk would run, if it's 6 episodes, run into September. So, and I don't think they're going to go She-Hulk, Andor, and then Mando. So I think even if it's just her theory, Andor in July, it makes sense.
So we got,
Obi next.
Obi next. Yeah, Obi next. I'm just thinking like Bad Batch Season 2 is an animated series, and they'd probably just slide that in around when Andor is going off. Because remember, you said like What If was kind of paralleling another live action Disney Plus series.
No, it didn't happen in August, I don't think. I thought Bad Batch did, I thought Bad Batch was going on during a Marvel show, I thought. Maybe and it was on the Fridays, right? And I bet they would do the Fridays again. It's all up in the air, I guess. Lucasfilm will probably throw a dart at the counter. It's like a family Clay. Maybe, but at the same point, they do got to plan like a little bit. I am surprised, and again, Star Wars Celebration is in a couple weeks, and we'll be covering here, and also Star Wars Alliance. So I am surprised if it is July. We've heard nothing official about Andor, but that would fit because Lucasfilm lately is just like messy. But if it is July, it's like, man, just at least drop a date even and stuff like that. So we'll see. Let's see what we got going on. Let's take our next ad break, and then we'll be back with some more MCU news. So we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So here's just some like fun little tidbits. So let's start with this one because Superbad Mike brought up. So Xilinx's 10 Ring series will be like MCU's Fight Club. And we talked about this a bit on Patreon, but I want to get a bit deeper because we didn't talk about the specifics. The idea is to have fights between characters like we saw Wong and Abomination. Shang-Chi will shoot in 2023 for either a late 2024 or early 2025 release. It's unclear when the series will shoot. Now, this is one where if you're a scooper and you're wanting to make something sound sexy, man, when I saw the 10 Rings will return, all I took it as, okay, it's going to be Xilinx probably leading the show in some sort of crime, going up against other factions type of show. That's what I figured when we're getting a 10 Ring series. But if this is true, if the show is literally about the Fight Club and we're getting random MCU characters, that's amazing. That's why I don't think it's real. If this was animated, maybe I would, but I just don't think we're getting a real life show of like, what does that work? Is it literally a Mortal Kombat with MCU characters? Like, I know Wong was there, but like you might say, oh yeah, Wong and Abomination did fight. That was random. It would be, it was, but to have a whole show about that, I don't know if I buy this one, but man, I really want this to be true. I really want this. What about you, Taylor?
Oh, I would love it. I think there's so much potential just to have, again, like I mentioned earlier, I want to see these wacky team ups or pair projects of a Moon
Hmm.
Knight and a Captain America. So to get something like this that just showcases some very random characters spliced together, like that'd be super super cool to see him fighting. And for whatever benefit that is, I couldn't tell you, just pride, I guess. But
Hmm.
the Wong Abomination thing was so brilliant, even though it was short lived. That's one of the highlights of that movie for me because it's just, it feels like, okay, we're getting into this interconnectedness of the universe. And I know we see something like, okay, we got Thor and Hulk facing off in Ragnarok, and that's
Yeah.
cool on a galactic level, but to have it much more contained on Earth, I'm all about that. I think it just has so much potential to get fun and wacky. I don't even know what like my pitch of a pair up would be for 1v1.
I was gonna say, yeah, we should, whether it's a Patreon one, if this show gets confirmed as a Patreon topic or main topic, we should do like a pitch our 5 fights. Like put some
Yeah.
thought into it and make like a tournament bracket and stuff like that. That'd be tons of fun. And Espo's brought this up that we get that Deadpool Proxima midnight fight from the concept art. Now I'm pretty sure that the guy that did the concept art just kind of said like, oh yeah, that wasn't really planned. It was just in there having some fun. But Deadpool, you want to talk about a PG-13 place to put him? That's a perfect place to put him. That he's just fighting and stuff like that. And what would be, again, they wouldn't do this, and depending when the show is, but imagine if they did such a big callback where you had one episode where Wolverine was in it, where you had like from X, like Men, where the first time you saw him, and maybe he's just in the background or something. But this idea, again, I just don't know what the plot would be as far as, are they literally trying to win a tournament? Do they like, especially if Xiling is the main character? I don't know, but I want it to happen. And same thing, chat. Yeah, if you have any fights to put throw in there, you want combinations, let me know. But that I would love doing a cast like that, talking about, okay, who could we see? What would we want to see? Because could be endless. Because like I said, Wong and Abomination, I still want to know, why is Abomination there? How's he getting out of prison? And why does Wong do this on the side? You know, like what's his deal and stuff like that. So speaking of what if we did earlier, what if season 2, it doesn't know much about, unclear if it's 9 or 10 episodes. The season will include the Tony and Gamora episode that was cut from season 1 due to COVID. One episode will be Captain Carter continuation. One episode is based around the Black Widow movie. One is Eternals, and the other is Shang-Chi. So obviously there's a few in there. Is there anything you are specifically really wanting them to tackle? And I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm also gonna maybe teaser. It's part of my fact or fiction when I am on Marvel Alliance this week. But one, is there any movie or event or something you specifically want covered for season 2? Especially they seem to be tackling stuff in Phase 4, so that's kind of fair game.
7 Phase 4. Let me pull up a list to remind myself what actually happens in Phase 4 specifically.
So let's see. And Proxima Midnight is dead too. So yeah, I'm pretty sure the guy did that for fun. Yeah, and 100%. But that's where it's like, hopefully we can get that some live stuff. But
Okay, here we go. I think we got
So you got-
Phase 4 here. Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternal, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Multiverse of Madness. Is that all?
and then you got the
Phase 4?
shows too. Remember, you got WandaVision,
Right.
Hawkeye, Loki, Falcon, Winter Soldier.
Love and Thunder, Black
Love and
Panther,
Thunder will be out.
Guardians of the
but-
Galaxy, the
Yeah,
Marvels.
we've had, what have we had this year for shows? We had Moon Knight. So
So okay, yeah. So WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki. What if see Hawkeye? Okay, interesting. And things that would be going differently. I mean, you gotta have some fun with Spider-Man. Spider-Man No Way Home. I just feel like that's a rich resource of.
that's a tough
stuff you
one.
can get into. Really, like, what if it wasn't Peter Parker going in to like save his identity? What if it was a different hero and he pulled in like all his like variants and stuff like that with his villains?
Yeah, you know what? I guess you could do something like that because that's similar to Loki. I actually don't think we'll get a No Way Home one because I think that I don't know if they could technically. They should be. I guess they could be able to. I guess they use Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, in the What If ones. I was just wondering for Andrew and Toby, like how does?
Well, I was thinking, what if you had like Spider Gwen who's trying to hide her identity and goes to Doctor Strange, and then you just see all these other Spider Gwens come in and something.
Same
Maybe
thing,
it would be like a little bit too much like multiverse or Spider Verse.
Yeah, and I don't know. Again, could they use Spider-Gwen? I don't think they could. I think your idea of like
True.
another MCU hero using that, like Thor using that, and then when we get like Throg, like and stuff like that, like I think we could go that route. Superman Mike says, "What if Yelena was the first Black Widow?" I think that's honestly, I think that's probably the route they're gonna go. I feel like they're gonna say like, what happens if Natasha died and Yelena was on the Avengers and stuff like that? Maybe. Like, what do you feel about that as far as the Black Widow one? Like, what would they cover with that? Because I feel like that's a good guess by Superbad Mike.
So Yelena
She
went on the Avengers.
yeah. She has like a similar path to Natasha.
Yeah, I could see that. Something very basic like that probably would make sense for an episode. But I also
which I don't
wonder...
want, because like with Captain Carter, I like her as a character, but it's pretty much just like almost identical to First Avenger, but just Captain Carter there, you know.
Well, that's just it. And I think we're gonna get things that are a little bit more wacky because again, we didn't get to see that Gamora Iron Man crossover episode. So I think we'll get kind of things more along the lines of that route. So, I mean, again, looking at this, I feel like maybe you could see some Eternal stuff that's kind of done. Maybe like where the deviants are good or something like that. I don't know, but I think you're gonna get maybe a little bit more zombies related, unless they save that completely for their zombies show. But
I think they'll save it for the show. I think that's a draw now.
I think you probably will get a little bit more Thanos, and maybe they'll just kind of. Like, they're going to show some different what-if scenarios, I think, for sure. But I think they're going to kind of hone in on this squad of... I can't remember what the Revengers or they were, but this squad that the...
Guardians of the Multiverse.
Watcher. Yeah, Guardians
that?
of the Multiverse. Yeah. I think they're going to probably go back to the squad that the Watcher kind of created, right? Because somehow they have to conclude that story of Ultron and... Was it Killmonger both trapped in that little sphere?
Yeah, they could just say that though. They're trapped there, you know. They're gone for a little bit. But I don't think you're wrong, because I always thought it was weird that if that was the closing chapter of the Guardians of the Multiverse, I know they were making it, but if we get that Tony and Gamora episode now, which clearly was another one leading towards the team up, feels a little weird that the team up happens, they're not a team, then we get this episode after. So I could see some continuation again, which I'm fine for. And then I would almost hope was what they do is I would like it if they took the Guardians of Multiverse, spun that off to an animated show, and then didn't have them on What If, and then did more What If stuff, because I do like to see the team again, but I don't want them to take up too many episodes, because last season they took up, like, that team thing took about 3, which is fine, but I want more scenarios. I think you're right that I'm surprised they still... I know it's a generic, like, easy one, but I'm still surprised they haven't done a What If Thanos fully won or so. Like, I think that's, like, an easy one. I think the one I want to see the most is WandaVision. I think you could have some real fun with different scenarios in that one. Like, I don't know what you could do, but...
You say, like, what if Thanos won? I mean... I don't think there's any real difference to that. Like, we saw him win.
Well, what happened? No, but
what
I mean, what
happens after that?
Like, what? No, like... So, but they went back in time. What happens if they never go back in time? You know, like,
then
what if
just,
they never...
It's just exactly what we saw, but nothing eventful happens.
Like, I guess you're right. I'm just trying to think of the angle of... Well, what if it's from the Endgame point of view, when he decides to snap all of existence and just rebuild it? What if it's just a 25-minute episode of him, like, rebuilding existence and stuff?
Well, that would be different.
They
then.
find out
Instead
he
of him
actually
snapping,
destroyed everything.
That'd
be good.
That'd be different from the context of him snapping half the population in the universe just for the balance of resources. But if he just outright decides, like, hey, this is Thanos snapping everything and rebuilding from the ground up, that would be a very cool concept to see.
Because that's a huge complex. Man, S-Bubs, I hope you're trolling. I know on one you are. What if Winwoo saved his wife? But this one, there's a small rumor for WandaVision that it'd be what if Wanda watched musicals instead of sitcoms.
Where do you source that rumor from? Oh my god.
Oh, it's probably Little Scoopers. That, to me, because what I would want from WandaVision is not that. It wouldn't be like, oh, what if she watched drama? Like, I don't want, like, the same events happening, just like with a little different tone, which is fine. It could be enjoyable. I just want different routes going on there. Like, what if she decided to keep the kids and Vision, and she said screw it to Westview and stuff, and just kept going? You know, like, that, we already saw her being villainous. It would fit there. What if you saw Vision really disagree with her and they had to fight? Maybe this is where they pull in the actual Quicksilver Ralph Boner moment. Like, I don't want the, oh, she just watched another show, because that just feels like a cheap gimme episode, unless that, like, it will be the only thing they have to do. This is what they have to do with that Party Thor episode, where it's just kind of like a all right episode, but they made it really wacky and lots of references and really fun. I think that's what they have to do with it, like have a musical number with a Thanos and stuff like that. So we'll see. They're getting too high off that Hawkeye end credit scene. Remember that? Remember the last MCU project year? The end credit was just a fucking musical and stuff like that. Oh my god. Oh my god!
Well, that's how they bring in Hugh Jackman. He loves his musicals.
That's right. Yeah. What was the other one? I had a couple. Oh, WandaVision. I think you can do a Falcon Winter Soldier of, like, let's say if Sam dies and Bucky did take the shield. I think you could do that. Oh, that was. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, what if there was one where Loki didn't get arrested by the TVA or something like that?
Yeah, you could just have him doing hijinks and stuff
Or
like
if
that.
he did become like the leader and like they didn't kill Kang or the
Oh,
Conqueror or something
yeah,
like that.
that would be a good one if they didn't kill King. I'd really like to see it. Like, let's say he had to kill Sylvie, and then that'd be really
Yeah,
good.
killed Sylvie over Kang. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. The other one I thought that they could do is, like, what if they made Layla the actual, like, getting Moon Knight and the whole Conchu and everything,
That'd be
because
cool.
that was hinted at so much. People really like that character. I don't know if we'll get that here because it's more later on in season 4. The other one, or phase 4, the other one, like I said, I'm gonna bring this up Marvel Alliance, but I do wonder if we're gonna get, I think I'm saying it right, the Marvel 838 universe, if we would get any more at the Illuminati universe, because to me, I think that's prime now. I don't think it will happen now. They might save it, but I feel like going back in that universe has to happen at some point. I feel like it can't just be a one and done, even if it's just for cameos, even if it's for What If. Do you think that's something they would touch in What If, or do you think that's still kind of off limits for a bit?
I would see them keeping it off limits just because it's super sensitive right now, but I'd love to see them tackle it because that universe is a fucking mess right now. It's just fucking shambles.
Oh,
So
I'd love to know they lost, like especially because the thing with the Illuminati, and let's see, Esther Mike says, "What if involving Illuminati could be interesting? They get those actors' voice." Oh, there you go. And there's another really good one of, let's say that Krasinski doesn't do Reed Richards again, right? Live action. Let's say that was his one and done. I think you could honestly get him back to voice acting, and that could be like, again, it's not the same equivalent, but it's something at least. It's like, oh, he could anytime we do some 686 stuff or the 838 stuff, boom, it's Krasinski. So I think you could have fun there. And also, again, like, people got to remember, the Illuminati, they're not like the world's Avengers. They're not public. They're hidden. So in that world, Xavier was still the X-Men. Reed was still Fantastic Four. Like, they're still leading teams. The world's now without a Captain Marvel. So, like, Wanda took a huge, like, many team leaders, many heroes and stuff like that. Yeah, it has to be a mess there, you know, and especially, again, that might show, I guess it's almost like our world though, right? We're without a Tony, without a Black Widow, without a Steve. Like, what's the next big threat? But at least Steve could come back. At least, you know, we got a new Black Widow coming up where, you know, I don't think there's any more Reed Richards popping up.
No,
there,
616 is doing pretty good for all intents and purposes. That other 838 though, I mean, yeah, they just got fucking bobs. Like,
well, yeah, because we also just got to hope our Xavier and Reed Richards are still just here, out there, you know, stuff like that. So the last point is, this was just thrown in rumors because they don't know, but I think it was good to bring up because, you know, we always love talking about Sony. In terms of Olivia Wilde's Spider-Man film being under the Marvel and studio production, we'll have to see. Things will be a hell lot clearer for the MCU once Spider-Man 4 is officially announced and the trades by the studios. Nothing more than that, though. And I it is curious because we talked about that with Olivia Wilde. Remember when she said she was doing interviews and she said, oh, she couldn't say much because, like, Kevin or Feige would kill her and stuff like that. And that's where everyone's like, oh, that's weird. Like, if it's a Sony movie, why is she saying that? So I still, like, how come Taylor, obviously, supposedly in this deal, right? We had Spider-Man, we do a Spider-Man movie with Sony, and then Spider-Man's going to be MCU project. We haven't got the Spider-Man MCU project. So do you think that's what they're literally waiting for to announce the Spider-Man 4, that after they do the MCU crossover, boom, here's the Spider-Man 4 announcement? And if not, like, why haven't they? Like, Spider-Man, biggest movie of the pandemic, one of the biggest movies of all time, almost $2 billion. Usually most of the time, especially Sony, would announce. I remember, I think it was even before Homecoming, like 2 days before, they announced, like, oh, we're doing a Spider-Man, you know, sequel to this already, where there's been no announcement to one of the biggest movies of all time. Like, what's the holdup on more confirming of this MCU Sony stuff? Is it just waiting? Is it them having problems with one another? Like, what is it in your mind?
I think it stems from them being kind of waiting. I think it's them being conflicted with the mumbo jumbo that they've done with their Sony Marvelverse. I'd point to Exhibit A.
Mumbo jumbo.
I haven't seen Morbius yet, and I'm not running off to, like, expedite my schedule to go see it.
It's on digital in a couple weeks. You'll be able to rent it.
Yeah, I'll just wait then. But it's the whole dynamic you guys are talking about, where they changed the dialogue, I guess the writing of it being a Spider-Man universe, something like that.
But apparently it is in the DVD, so it is.
Okay.
We're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just sounds all in all like they're really struggling to kind of come to terms with what they're trying to do, and it's a learning curve. But I just yeah, Spider-Man is a big character. You want to take advantage of this. You want to run with it, especially because No Way Home, you're right, it's so much success and you were just full steam ahead with a movie like that. It was so incredible. But uh yeah, I just think that they need to have a lot more work to do, and maybe they're just taking a break now because of Morbius. They probably thought like, oh, we got Morbius coming out, it's gonna be fantastic at the box office, and it just kind of, it just kind of made them kind of realize a little bit that we need to kind of take things a little slow.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I'm curious. I do want more. Like again, I don't need it all. Actually, I don't care. It's Sony Marvel. If they were to say Feige was involved with all their stuff, I'd be a lot more happier. Other than the animated stuff, they seem to be doing well. And Olivia Wilde's great. We talked about that "Don't Worry, Darling" trailer. That's looking fantastic. So it's like I really want to see what she could do, what her Spider Woman would be, everything like that. And if you were to tell me, oh, Feige's also producing that, that gives me a bit more excitement. Okay, Feige's including this. So either just even for quality wise or just connective, it might be connected to the MCU. I hope that when we get a Sony deal, it is something a bit more than just like the 2 picture thing. I hope it's a bit more concrete because they can still do their Crave and they can still do whatever, but at least the Tom Holland and all those spin-off sides. And if it's more, I'd love to say, yeah, we're partnering with Feige. He's going to do more Spider-Man with us, and he's also going to do some other projects that are connected to the MCU. That'd be great. So I hope that does happen. I hope we get a deal soon here, but I don't know. It hasn't happened yet. So yeah, on the box, it's not Sony Spider-Man Universe. It's, as Bubs points out, from Sony's Pictures Spider-Man Universe, and then it became Sony Pictures Marvel Universe.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So I don't know about that one. But let's take our, maybe our last ad break, and we're going to talk about some Doctor Strange box office, some pirates, and a creepy trailer. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So let's talk about the box office for Doctor Strange. It took a 67% dive as far as from week 1 to week 2. So it is a big one, but that does happen a lot of comic book movies. Now, this is the one on the bigger side and stuff like that. So I was going to get it up here. Where is it for the exact? It is. So to put it into perspective, it is the 3rd biggest drop ever for a MCU movie. After that was No Way Home, and then after that was Black Widow. So it's funny, you got 2 situations there, right? Where Black Widow, obviously, because it was on Disney Plus and early in pandemic, where you could say, well, it didn't do so well because of those situations. And then you have No Way Home that took a similar dive, but then it went on to make, almost $2 billion. This has taken a dive this has taken a dive, and obviously there's lots of reasons. People think because it's more mixed or because family, but the thing is, it's not as big as No Way Home, so it is a bigger chunk. I asked you Taylor now because I think it's sitting at like 680 worldwide or something, so it's making lots of money. We talked about this last week. Where are you now in your percentage of it making $1 billion? Because we got one more week next week where Men's coming up, but other than that, really nothing. Then after that, you got Top Gun, and then after you got Jurassic World. So really, you got next week to make a bit like a big more of a chunk of change, and then after that, it's gonna be a lot smaller. How are you thinking it's gonna do? Like, where are you on that billion mark now? Do you think it's gonna come under, or you think it's gonna go get to it? Where are you now?
I'd like to see it get to it, but it's hard to say because there's pretty quickly it's gonna be hit with a few heavy hitters, and again, like Maverick definitely has its fan base and its anticipation because people have been waiting since before the pandemic. But now you're dealing with something that's probably a little bit more custom for adults that are probably going to be nostalgic when they go see Maverick. So they might not bring their kids. And when they're thinking like, oh, Marvel superhero, they'll probably bring their kids. And we talked about this too. Doctor Strange, even though it is a little bit more on the scary side, I think there's probably like teenagers and stuff that'll be more inclined to go with their parents to go see it. So yeah, I think if they're going with a family, that's going to take the cake. Now, when you have Obi-Wan and the Disney Plus popping off in the next little bit, that I think that's going to kind of jog people's minds thinking, oh, let's go see something like, Disney. They'll go on Disney Plus and see all the Marvel stuff. Like, let's go see Doctor Strange. Yeah, like, let's go check it out. So maybe that's another thing that'll kind of give incentive and a little bit of a push. But once Jurassic World comes in, and you can remove my biasness aside from
No,
this,
you're
I
right,
think
yeah.
it's genuinely going to just dominate for a little bit, because I was looking at some tracking and I think it was on track to do like 200 300 million like right off the hop. I don't know how accurate
Probably
that
worldwide.
is.
That might be worldwide
Yeah,
number. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, that to me is accurate. Jurassic World, if people don't think it's gonna make money, like the second one was. If you want to talk about Doctor Strange being mixed, the second one reception was very mixed. That still made $1 billion. Obviously, yes, pre-pandemic, but I think people are excited to see this movie. The stars are still big, and then you have the original cast all coming back, right? And it's not, again, not to take a shot. We watched Force Awakens today for the first time with Gwen. Tons of fun. Definitely her favorite. Like it had her attention the whole time. And like I was gonna tweet about it, but I still gotta tell a story. Almost brought tear to my eyes because she's like, there's that moment because I didn't tell her. She keeps talking like, oh, when's there gonna be like a girl Jedi and stuff like that. I said, oh, there'll be like one in some of these movies, but I didn't. When we watched Force Awakens, I say nothing about Rey. So that moment, which it plays so good when you got a kid with you, that moment where Kylo just fucks up Finn and he goes for the thing, like the lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber, and she's like, oh, why is it not going? I'm like, oh, I don't know, I guess it's being called by something else. And then when it goes to Rey and then it's, the lightsaber goes off, not only is it like the lightsaber, it's also Gwen like realizing like, oh, she has the Force. And then she looked over at me, she's like, I think I want to be a Star Wars character for Halloween. So it was just like the power of just like one scene of just, and she watched the whole movie, but just seeing that one scene of Rey using the Force and lighting that lightsaber, it was like an instant like, okay. And she was mad when we stopped watching Last Jedi today because I had to watch Jurassic Park 2. So I'm like, I gotta watch this because I only have so few hours. And she's like, oh, you always stop the movies I like. I'm like, that's such a lie. Kids say this too. And I'm like, we still have this one. We still got Rise. We still got another Rey movie. Don't worry. But she was liking that and everything, and very mixed on Kylo Ren because I think because I told her watching Force Awakens, I'm like, oh well, Han Solo, he's gonna go back to save his son. I'm like, you think he's gonna do it? She's like, I think so. And I was like, oh man, not gonna go good for him. And yeah, she was kind of shocked when that happened. And then the funniest thing, because we're watching them like every weekend, so it's not like us that took these big breaks. We watched A New Hope, or we watched Return of the Jedi last week, and then we got to Force Awakens. And the good thing is, I'm Millennium Falcon. I'm like, who's shipping that? She's like, oh, that's Han and Chewie. So I'm like, okay, you're winning points. So we get to the Chewie we're home moment. He says that the first thing she says is, he looks old. Like she has no concept that these movies have made 30 years apart. So I'm like, yeah, like they make movies differently. It's the same thing when we start up Force Awakens. She's like, isn't that guy a superhero? That's a superhero because it was Oscar Isaac. And she's just learning the concept of like actors and stuff. So it's been really fun. But my point is, with Star Wars, with Force Awakens, we didn't get that hero shot of all of them together, right? The trailers for Jurassic World are all over showing, hey, these guys are in together for lots of the movie together. So it's not, you don't got to worry about them getting killed off before the meet. It's going to happen. So it's going to be huge. Once Jurassic World comes up, that's going to suck up so much box office. I think that's almost a billion guaranteed. With Doctor Strange, I think it could get there, but barely. It is a big drop because I was counting for the drops of the MCU, and it's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They've only, out of all the movies they've only had 8 movies dropping 67%. So that is really big. But at the same time, when people talk about like Morbius's drop, the thing with Morbius is it had like that 70% or high 60% drop, but it only made 40 million at the box office for its first weekend. This made whatever it was, like, I can't remember what the final, it was like 187, so massive. And like then its second weekend, to me this is where one is already made more than one Doctor Strange 1, which to me is like, that's a huge hit. You always want your sequels going up. It's in the pandemic. But to me the biggest thing is Marvel, Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi, they all opened in that like 60 to 70 range for their first weekend. So the fact that Strange is doing that at second weekend, they're pigs and shit right now. Like that's good. Like even if it doesn't hit $1 billion, sure, yeah, it's a little disappointing, but it's a big hit. It's gonna like I still, like I said, I was somebody like the Batman. I'm 0-2 right now because No Way Home, I did not think that until like the last week. I was like, okay, I think it's gonna hit $1 billion because the hype was building. But the whole time I was very mixed on it. Where the Batman and Doctor Strange were like, oh, $1 billion easy, and now it's not gonna hit it. So now I gotta work on my expectations. But I still think this would have been $1 billion movie until after we saw it, because I said once we saw it, like definitely not as family friendly and things, not as many repeat viewings. So if I would have known it was going to that route a bit more, I wouldn't have predicted that. But once I saw, I went, I don't know. So I think it could hit 1 billion barely, but my guess right now is I think it's going to be like 850, like something like that. So that's where I'm going right now. So we'll see. We'll keep watching. Yeah, we got next week, and then after that, we'll have to see what happens when you got Jurassic World and Top Gun and stuff. Hopefully it keeps making that change and everything. So speaking of Disney and movies and franchises, let's talk about Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, I can't remember the specific source of this, so forgive me on this one, but it was some interview with Jerry Bruckheimer, and he talked about a few things. Very, very odd. A few, like one statement, but one of them, I think I really get why they would do it. That they said they've been working on a Disney Plus show with Pirates of the Caribbean, or a Pirates of the Caribbean show. Taylor, how do you feel about a Disney Plus Pirates of the Caribbean show?
I feel like this is deja vu because I thought it was mentioned a long time ago that we were getting another movie and a show.
Yeah, I think it was, but I feel like this is again them just I think that first one that you're talking about the show, I think that was just a rumor where this is him actually saying it now. The movie, yeah, it's kind of repeating, but I think it's just because the movie was talked about a couple years ago and people were like, what the hell is going on with it? Even though there's weird news. But yeah, how do you feel about a Disney Plus show for Pirates?
I think that could be very, very fun. I think you could have a lot of potential with it. I wouldn't want it to be super, super kiddie. Make it kid friendly, but it doesn't have to be that very bland baseline kid humor where it's just kind of cheesy and ridiculous, and it's just like a guy bunks a hammer on his head and he fucking laughs, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, no, I don't need any of that. I want some grade A, like Pirates of the Caribbean. And I get it, they'll never do what they did with Pirates 1, 2, and 3, that humor and just the kind of stuff that they pulled in those movies, because there was a lot of it had like a Shrek kind of vibe where there were some things like kids could laugh and enjoy it, but it had moments that were a lot, for the most part, tailored for the adults. And I would love it if we could kind of go back to that, but I'm not expecting it to. I'm expecting it to just be a swashbuckling, like, hey, this season we're going on an adventure to find this cryptic pirates in oceans treasure, something like that, and there'll be some skeletons along the way and some crazy shenanigans and squids and stuff like that. So I'm all for it. I just want to see some more ships, some squids. Again, some of the
not the Kraken, squids.
No, just specifically squids. Yeah. Again, the Pirates of the Caribbean, those were some of the best set pieces and just visual battles that we got to just kind of like take in on screen. They were fantastic. It was such a good time, and they really delivered. So I got faith in a show and just kind of exploring that world a little bit more, like bringing like Tortuga and stuff like that. Go into that realm. That'd just be super fun. It's such an iconic classic set piece for Disney, just a franchise, I guess, and all that. I mean, they got the ride for it and everything, so I'm definitely all for it.
Yeah, I am too. My only thing is when you list off like how good those movies look, it's just, again, now lately is the budget thing, right? It's funny. I remember talking about that with Mandalorian when we first got that, because it was the first Disney Plus show, and I was always, when me and Kyle watched the leak of the trailer, that was the first time we covered it, because Celebration, they only leaked it out, or it got leaked, so we couldn't really tell the effects. And for the season of Mando 1, for the most part, it looked good. Didn't look like Star Wars on TV, but you could tell it had budget limitations. I think season 2, you could see that a few times. And then Marvel, I feel like same thing, has been back and forth, where I feel like that wasn't the case with, like, some people thought that with Loki, but with Loki, for me, it didn't. For WandaVision, it didn't. But then, like, Moon Knight, I really felt it. So I think you'd have to be really smart with a series, because if you're doing, ghostly pirates or, your Krakens or squids, that has to be proportioned outright. I would love it if it's just a band of pirates in there on an adventure to get some, like, treasure. It's just something simple. Great, So I just want to see some actual, just be very smart with the budget they have. And if it's not, like, what I'd say is I want to see is a small adventure, something small, some good characters, some good actors. That's the route you go. And this would tie into what Espos was talking about with the show and the movies, and I will bring up his exact comment here. But He asks, do you think the Pirates of the Caribbean show and the new movie will be connected, whether it be a spin-off of a character or just taking place the same time period as the movie? I don't know the new movie is different time period universe or whatever the original ones were. Yeah. So for me, I think, like what Taylor's just bringing up, though, like Tortuga, some of the environments, I think if you just reboot all of it, you lose that. Now, I know that's the knee-jerk reaction because of how we going to do without Jack Sparrow. It doesn't matter if it's a show or a movie, whether it is this is in the same continuity or it's a reboot, you're always going to have the, oh, this is going to be hard to do without Jack Sparrow, you know? Even if like nothing was going on with that trial right now and Johnny Depp was like the most loved person in the world and he was like, I don't want to do any more Jack Sparrow, it would still be tough. You know, it's like it's trying to, not exactly, but the good thing is with James Bond is you always recast James Bond. So that's the thing where it's like you're losing the main star. You can't recast Jack Sparrow. And I agree, Espub says there's a lot more pirates than Jack Sparrow. I agree for I think what you think, Espubs, for me, for Taylor, but I think there's tons of general audience member that is what Pirates is, though, is Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow. Mm-hmm. And I do think there's a massive chance. I love Margot Robbie, one of the best actresses, arguably the best actress in the world at times. Could have won an Oscar for I, Tonya. Big star, people like her. Now, we've seen with Birds of Prey and Suicide Squad, maybe not Suicide Squad so much, and Birds of Prey, Radar and stuff, but she can't still, like, she's not huge, like, she instantly opens the movie. And I think almost whoever you put in that Pirates role, it's going to be tough because I think there will be a lot of people that will see it. And no matter if that logo is the same, if the world's the same, if it's Pirates of the Caribbean without Jack Sparrow, and it's not like a Luke Skywalker situation where it's like, oh, he could pop up in a cameo or at the end, like Jack Sparrow's in this world somewhere. No, they could start this movie being like, yeah, Jack Sparrow died. And, you know, this is the new set of characters and stuff. And I think that's tough because if you don't see a Jack Sparrow presence in the show or the movies, the show I think is a bit easier because the show, and I think people understand, oh, hey, it doesn't have to be Jack Sparrow. This is a smaller venture, but I still think set in that world, you have characters you could bring back, you have locations. Because yeah, I don't want to lose a Tortuga.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, say that 3 times fast. Or I don't want them to do Tortuga and just like reboot it with a new skin and everything. Like, no, do the same. I think the route is for the show and the movie. It's going to be tough, but put it in the same universe. Just, it's at a different part, somewhere else, everything like that. And with the movie was interesting is, yeah, he confirmed the Margot Robbie movie is still being works. But what I thought was really weird is he says there's 2 movies. And I'm like, oh, I clicked on it. Wow, they're being bold, showing 2 movies. No, the 2 movies are, they're working on one version of a script with Margot Robbie, and then they're working on one without, which is very, very interesting. So I don't know. Yeah, it's very weird. And it's a very weird thing to say in public, in my opinion. I don't really understand that. Back on the Jack Sparrow topic, sorry, Superbad Mike says, it would be a breath of fresh air to get Pirates entry without Jack Sparrow. There's still a lot of potential in that world, even without him. And I agree. And that, I think, was some of my biggest cons with 4 and 5 was once we lost Will and Elizabeth, it was mostly just Jack. And 1, I think Johnny Depp got a little like a caricature of that. Like he lost to Jack Sparrow. But those original Pirates movies, like the 3, yeah, sure, Jack's the main guy and he's in them a lot. But they feel a lot like Lord of the Rings, where we have multiple main characters we're following with those 3 and Barbossa and some other ones. It felt like a unit. It felt like an actual ensemble with Jack clearly. Again, sometimes he didn't feel like the main character. Sometimes Will and Elizabeth felt like the main character, and Jack was like a huge supporting side character or main character B. So I think it's tough, but I don't know what that means. I think what I can only take from the script thing is, as you've seen probably the past few years, that Margot Robbie produces a lot more, right? So there could be a situation where if she's starring in this, she's also producing it, and she has her say of like she'd like to do certain things. And then they have a version of that, like, okay, this is a script that has Margot's ideas or some of her influence, and then this is a script that's not, and we can't use it, or we have to do a different story without Margot. So I think it's just weird to put that on the public that we're working on 2 different scripts in case she like drops out. And I'm fine. I like Margot. I talk about like love Margot. I like Margot in the Pirates world. I just don't know if it's a smart move for her either, because I just feel like, again, I feel like whoever's in the movie, I don't think it's gonna go well. I don't know. I hope the Pirates name and brand pulls them in. So what do you feel? I ranted a lot about there because of chat. But what do you feel the Jack Sparrow-ness, the 2 scripts being worked on, like everything I talked about there? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm a massive Jack Sparrow fan. It's hard for me to kind of associate Pirates of the Caribbean without Jack Sparrow because he's just such a he's iconic in what he's able to do on as that pirate. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting, and I'm very open to interpretations of different portrayals of pirates in this universe. So the 2 scripts thing is very, very odd, but again, you made a very good point about that, and I guess I have to wait and see how that really rolls out and how it goes. I was kind of looking at ideas for a TV show, and I would love to see the 2 pirates like Raggedy and Pinto, if you remember them. Those two,
That'd be great. I don't know why they got rid of them for 4
I know they
and
were
5.
cut out of 4. I was just looking at this because I saw a
Stupid.
meme, and it's like Pinto was the brother of Raggedy's father, and after he was lost at sea, Raggedy went to live with his uncle. It's like, okay, so they're actually related. One of them is the uncle.
I didn't know that. Wow.
That's so fucked.
The one with the one eye has to be the nephew, right? Because he's a bit younger, I imagine.
Pinto was the brother of Raggedy's father. Yeah, Raggedy was the one-eyed guy after he was lost at sea. Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know why they cut them out. But yeah, so for a show, you want to see something more like that. And then the movie,
Yes.
and then so same thing back to SBUB's question. They come to you and say, okay, Taylor, we're making this Margot Robbie Pirates movie. Do we set it in the world or do we just start over fresh? Because obviously we talk about the issues, but if you start over fresh, at least that gives the audiences a confirmation that there's no Jack Sparrow and stuff. Even though I feel like, I don't know. Again, I feel like it's confirmation enough with like what's happening in the media right now.
I think you leave it in the world. Like I know, like obviously, not to get like political with the whole shebang here, but watching Johnny Depp on the stand saying like he would never play Jack Sparrow again and stuff like that, I don't blame him because after he's just this whole dynamic and everything. I'm not going to get into it, but.
He wasn't
I
happy.
feel like he wasn't happy. No.
Well, because what happened? It doesn't matter about the trial stuff. He wasn't happy that his quote was that he found out that he was not playing Jack Sparrow anymore through like a newspaper or something like that. And which I was like, did that happen? Did that one? I guess it was. They said they have no plans with him and stuff. So, but at the same time, I don't know if I believe that. Sean Connery said he'd never play Bond again, and then they did a Bond movie. You know what they called it, Taylor?
Well,
you know what they called it?
What they call it?
They called it Never Say Never.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and that could be the Pirates movie. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well
Never Say Never.
That's exactly it. Like he should never say never because money does speak. So there's a high chance the fans are asking for it and the money is real good and he's vindicated himself. Then maybe he'll do one last hurrah. Who knows? I don't know where he's at right now with that. But I think this should stay in the universe with Margot Robbie's project. I think it's. You can do it. The world is a big place. The ocean is freaking huge. You can do it with like subtle nods towards certain things that we've experienced right now. So again, it doesn't have to be its own recreation remake because then people are going to make that comparison like the Ghostbusters scenario. I feel like that's just going to happen. But if it's in the same universe, then I think people can respect that and understand it. Like Afterlife was in the same universe, but we didn't. I'm not saying we need to have that scene where at the end of the movie we see Johnny Depp, Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley all pop up to fight Davy Jones returning from the grave. We don't need that. But
think about the 5 end with that cliffhanger. Davy Jones was coming back, right?
He was
never
back.
got
so
it.
Maybe have Margot Robbie square off against Davy Jones returning or something like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and I do agree with Clay that again it is for the fans. The reboot thing it helps, but. The continuity arguments for the fans in the GA will see Pirates wonder where Johnny Depp is, and they always will, and that's where I hope a new generation can like it, and I'm pulling for it. What I want them, or what I don't want them to do is, sure, have it set in the same universe. I don't want some shit where like Margot Robbie's his daughter or something like that, because I just feel like that's just too baity, and I feel like you get into that situation, then people will compare. Of course, they're already going to compare, and you're going to get those fucking losers that make like the red eye thumbnails, and they're going to make Margot Robbie as a pirate. They're going to make Margot Robbie as a pirate crying when the movie doesn't do well, and like, look at Jack, look at Johnny, he's the king. But I think that. You just gotta focus on making this movie and don't do she's I don't know Jacqueline Sparrow, because then right away you go
Jacqueline
like
Sparrow.
you don't want that comparison. Set it in the same world, new character, That's perfect. So, our last note here is this trailer called Resurrection. It dropped on Friday. It's a Shudder production. I want to get your thoughts about this. The great Rebecca Hall's in it. Tim Roth's in it. Very weird type of trailer. What do you think about this movie?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what was going on here. So it looks like there's some. It's not paranormal by the sense of it. I'm just getting like vibes that it's just a mental kind of psychological thriller, and it's going to be playing with the concept of what's kind of real, what's kind of not. So I'm intrigued by it. I didn't know what to expect looking at this trailer. So there's some weird things with the baby and stuff like that. That was definitely terrifying to see. But yeah, no, I mean, what was the actress's name again? Because she was
Rebecca
in Godzilla,
Hall.
wasn't she?
She's in Godzilla. She's in Iron Man 3. She's in The Town.
Yeah, so I think she's a great actress. I'm definitely down to see what's kind of unfolding here because it seems mysterious. And I was looking up people talking about this movie in the comments, and people are like praising it. So it's definitely got expectation.
Yeah, that's why I got on my track record or my whatever record. I don't know what track record. That's the wrong record. But it's interesting because the trailer, it starts to propose one of my favorite things, and it can be tricky, but the what's real and what's not, because she's in some seminar, she sees Tim Roth's character and just becomes like, looks like she has PTSD. She's starting to shake, she's stricken with grief and stuff like that. And then they show shots of her body like it's been abused or hurt and stuff like that. But at the same time, you have, I'm assuming, her daughter talking about saying you're kind of having another one of your episodes, stuff like that. When she bumps into Tim Roth's character, he seems happy and fine with the situation. Now, that could just be because he feels he didn't do anything wrong and he's a shitty male, or he legitimately didn't do anything wrong. And that's why I love that you don't know what the issue is. You also don't know 100% is it just Tim Roth fucking with her, or is she, having an episode. Rebecca Hall looks great in it. And again, yeah, I don't think it's supernatural, but there's definitely going to be some horror elements as far as maybe in her mind. Like that's what I took from that baby scene, is that'd be something she'd be thinking about. But if that's in the movie, then that's going to mess with me. And yeah, that's some of the best things where it's not like a Us or a Get Out, or like what's the movie coming out? Don't Worry, Darling. It's not a trailer where it's like, man, this is completely on my radar. I'm going to see it day one. But I like a trailer when I know nothing about it, and then it just pops up. It's like, okay, this looks fascinating. And again, luckily there's lots of good positive word about it. So I'm not sure if we'll see it. It could be one of those Golden Geek movies that sneak in if we see enough of us like it. But I'm interested to see like what the twist is and what the reveal is here. And I really liked what I saw. And again, it's just two good actors. I like that Tim Roth is, we're going to see him in this. We're going to see him in She-Hulk. We need more Tim Roth. I feel like he's not in enough stuff. He's an actor that's really good, and he's just always in the background lately, So.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's got to be popping off more. I know he's definitely Dylan's favorite, so.
Oh, yeah. Blonsky is the best, So.
Yeah.
Anything else to say before we end this episode?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Yeah, that is it. So tomorrow, when this releases tomorrow, Taylor will be on SideQuest, and then there'll be a newscast later on this week with Kirklin and Taylor at double, so look out for that. And Halo finale, I don't know if we'll be releasing this week, but we'll be doing a Top Gun retrospective as well. So lots of big stuff popping off. So thank you everyone in the chat that joined us. Thank you everyone listening. We promise we'll hear from us next. It'll not be boring.
Bye-bye.